Welcome in. Before I go anywhere, I want to credit the source. The framework I am about to walk you through was built and decoded by a teacher named Dolo Da Pilotman, who runs the Flights channel and delivers this material under a teaching series he calls Uriel. The decoded structure of the Bible and the celebrity mascot mechanic and the covenant teaching all come from him. What I built is one organized walkthrough that applies the framework to a current event. Here is the screenshot. The comment is from Waka Flocka Flame, the verified rapper. He posted it about 15 hours ago underneath a post about another celebrity, and by the time it reached me, 4,170 people had already liked it. The comment reads like this: somebody or some company paying this kid for these narratives, but to me the worst part of it all is the youngins that these ideas linger in minds of unfit thinkers. Internet spooky. On the surface, that looks like exposure. One celebrity pulling the curtain on another. What is actually happening underneath is the entire framework running on 5 layers at the same time. Once you can see all 5 layers running, the comment stops looking like exposure and starts looking like one of the most efficient pieces of the very mechanism it appears to be critiquing. I will walk you through those 5 layers, then through the 4,000-year-old framework underneath, and then back to this same screenshot. Every term gets defined when it first arrives. Layer 1 is the most direct read. Waka said somebody or some company is paying this kid for these narratives. 3 framework terms are sitting inside that sentence, whether he knows it or not. A mascot is a public-facing figure whose job is to carry intellectual property on behalf of the body that elevated them. The mascot did not write the script. The mascot is the costume the larger body wears for the audience. A celebrated blood cell is the framework's decoding of the modern word celebrity. A blood cell does not have its own life. It carries oxygen for the body it lives inside. When the kid becomes a celebrity, the kid stops carrying his own life and starts carrying narratives for the body of government fashion that elevated him. Dolo calls them celebrated blood cells because their job is to circulate intellectual property the way blood cells circulate oxygen. The entertainment fashion of government is the captured surface where this whole exchange lives. The framework teaches that the world is governed through 5 fashions, and entertainment is one of them. A fashion of government is a captured surface where the same control mechanic runs in a different costume. Translate Waka's sentence with those 3 terms. An operator above the public stage is paying the celebrated blood cell to circulate intellectual property through the entertainment fashion. The payment is what the framework calls crumbs. Waka described the celebrity mascot mechanic in plain language without using the technical terms. What he missed is that the kid is not a victim. The kid agreed to be elevated the moment he took the first round of crumbs. The payment is the deal. The kid is the most ordinary expression of the rule. Layer 2 is the layer Waka cannot see from where he is standing. He is a platformed entertainer with a blue check who built his career inside the rap industry, which is one of the most captured subsurfaces of the entertainment fashion. He is not commenting from outside. He is commenting from another seat at the same table. When one mascot publicly criticizes another, what looks like exposure is intra-fashion theater. Both mascots benefit. The kid gets more attention, which extends his run. Waka gets to play elder statesman, which extends his run. The platform collects engagement on both sides. Every party walks away more deeply embedded in the entertainment fashion than they were before. The framework wants mascots to criticize other mascots inside the platform because every minute of that criticism keeps the audience inside the platform. The audience never leaves the entertainment fashion to interrogate the entertainment fashion. It leaves one comment thread and refreshes another, and the platform invoices the conversation across every refresh. The framework tolerates that criticism up to a precise threshold. The threshold is the line between gesturing at the mechanic and naming the operators. Waka stayed safely on the gesturing side. His blue check will not be revoked because he stayed inside the rules of the cage even while he criticized the cage. That obedience is what keeps the mascot eligible to keep cashing crumbs. Layer 3 is where the language analysis gets sharp. A release valve is a permitted form of partial disclosure that lets a celebrity mascot gesture at the existence of the mechanic without ever naming what the mechanic actually is or who runs it. Release valves exist because audiences are not fully asleep. The framework permits and encourages mascots to flag the suspicion in language that points at nothing in particular. The release valve looks like dissent and functions like content. Watch the exact phrase Waka used. He did not name a single specific entity. He said internet spooky and added a facepalm emoji. When I say shadow government later in this video, I mean the coordinating layer above the publicly visible governments that runs the mechanic across all 5 fashions. Waka did not say any of that. Internet spooky vaguely indicates that something is off and commits to no specific operator. It allows 4,000 people to feel like they just heard a respected voice confirm their suspicions, without that respected voice taking on a single ounce of risk. The likes are not for the content. The likes are for the feeling of partial disclosure. The audience feels seen and never notices that the suspicion was never specified. The framework converted the energy of skepticism into engagement for the platform the skepticism was pointed at. Layer 4 is the framing Waka uses to position himself relative to the audience. He said the worst part is the youngins, that these ideas linger in minds of unfit thinkers. The phrase unfit thinkers does structural work. Sheep management language is any language that accepts a hierarchy where some people are positioned as the herd that needs guidance and other people are positioned as the shepherds doing the guiding. The framework runs on a 3-tier hierarchy. Operators at the top, who are the coordinating layer. A managerial class in the middle made up of celebrities and preachers and politicians and educators who carry the operator's instructions out to the public. And the population at the bottom, which the framework calls the sheep. Sheep management language is how the middle tier addresses the bottom tier without ever questioning the top tier. Waka is positioning himself as a concerned shepherd over a population of sheep who cannot see through the narratives on their own. He has claimed a mid-tier seat in the hierarchy without ever questioning whether the hierarchy itself is the problem. He is concerned about sheep below him. He is not concerned about operators above him. He does not say the company that pays the kid also pays him. He stays inside the framing where some celebrities are good and some are corrupted, and his job is to be a good celebrity calling out the corrupted one. The vocabulary changes across fashions, and the structural move stays the same. Layer 5 is the deepest and the one most viewers miss. What does this comment actually produce? Engagement and likes and replies and screenshots and reposts. Every output stays inside the entertainment fashion. Nobody is decaptured by Waka's comment. The 4,000 people who liked it are returning to Instagram tomorrow to see what other celebrities they can criticize. The framework calls the captured space inside which all of this happens the chamber. The chamber pre-filters every conversation that happens inside it. Whatever you generate inside the chamber gets metabolized by the chamber. Waka is generating a critique of the chamber from inside the chamber, and the chamber is invoicing the critique back into engagement. Once you see the chamber working, you see why nothing inside the entertainment fashion can be used to escape the entertainment fashion. The release valve is the chamber's pressure relief mechanism. The intra-fashion theater is the chamber's entertainment loop. The sheep management language is the chamber's organizational chart. Every move inside the chamber feeds the chamber. So there are the 5 layers. The named mascot doing mascot work. Waka calling out a mascot from another seat at the same table. Internet spooky as the release valve. Unfit thinkers as sheep management. And the whole exchange feeding the fashion that produced it. Now let me walk you through the 4,000-year-old framework underneath the comment. The Bible is a book of titles. Set down one assumption first. The Bible is not a book of historical events with characters who walked around in sandals 4,000 years ago. The Bible is a book of titles. Every name on the page is a label for a thought pattern or a feeling or a captured attention mechanic that runs in every era, including this one. Men's names are thought forms. Women's names are feelings or emotions. White and light point at logic and left brain function. Black and dark point at emotion and right brain function. Geographic locations are regions of the body or sectors of the year. The book was written in occult code by a group of original philosophers, and the names double as concepts, so you can run the concept forward through history just by repeating the name. Every name from here forward is a category running right now. Waka is running a name. The kid is running a name. The book was written so you could identify which name is running and decide whether you want to keep running it. The Covenant of Abraham. The Covenant of Abraham in its simplest form is an agreement to never sell your gift for crumbs. That is the version a newcomer can walk around with. Covenant means a vow held by daily practice, not a contract you sign once. A vow you renew every morning. If you renew it today, you are inside it today. The covenant only lasts as long as the practice lasts. Abraham is not the name of a historical man. Abraham is a thought pattern. Slow the syllables down and you hear A-Brahma-Ham. Brahma is the spiritual system that comes through the Middle East and through the Indian lineage. The system of universal consciousness the practitioner enters through meditation. Ham is one of the geographical regions taken over in the original conquest that gave the framework its first solidified hold. The name records both layers at once. That is how the Book of Titles works. Your gift is the original creative capacity you arrive with. Crumbs are the small fraction of value the mascot generates that gets handed back as wages. The wage looks large by the standard of an ordinary worker. It is small by the standard of what the gift was worth before it was converted. Sacrificing the son. The central allegory of the entire framework is the story of Abraham raising the knife over his son. Most people read it as a horror story about a father almost killing a child. In the framework's reading, it is not about a child at all. The son in the story is the sun. Spell the word with a U, and you have the inner light, the baby idea you give birth to when you sit and let creativity arrive. To sacrifice the son means to take the original creative capacity you arrived with and trade it for riches by being willing to be used in the trade. The willingness is what the framework names as the evil at the center of the system. The platform is the altar. The narratives are the inventory the son gets converted into. The crumbs are the payment. This is what Waka's kid did. The framework has been running this move on chosen sheep for 4,000 years. The metric is simple and you can run it on your own output today. If your gift produces a new lane, you are honoring the covenant. If your gift produces a more polished version of somebody else's existing box, you have sold the sun and you are walking around with crumbs. The mechanic runs in 5 steps. First, the framework picks a sheep with a gift. Second, it offers crumbs and visibility in exchange for slotting that gift into one of the existing fashions. Third, it dictates the behavior the mascot must exhibit to keep the crumbs. Fourth, the influencer effect pulls the masses into living the same way, trying to reach the same level. Fifth, the moment the mascot deviates, the framework cancels or kills the mascot and broadcasts the death. Michael Jordan is the cleanest demonstration. To the people who idolize him, he is the greatest of all time. To the framework that owns the platform he stood on, he is one of their most precious mascots and one of their most precious images they could throw at the public as a thing to like. He never built his own league. He slotted into the existing box of basketball, which was already operating inside the entertainment fashion, and the way he must live to keep his money is a behavior code running in the background that he did not write. His influencer effect drags entire generations into the same imitation route. The world got shaped into the framework's virtues without a single body on a cross. This is also why rulers stopped hanging people upside down in public. They invented the stage. The crucifixion never went away. It got upgraded into a more efficient mechanism. Waka is doing the Jordan move in his lane at his scale. The kid he commented on is doing it in his. If sacrificing the son is what the kid did, the tribe of Jacob is the lineage neither he nor Waka is on. The tribe of Jacob is not a people. It is not an ethnicity, and it is not a bloodline. It is a line of reasoning, and you join it by practice. The tribe of Jacob are individuals who wrestle their thoughts and their thought patterns to refuse letting their gifts be bought or abused. The tribe expands and contracts according to who is currently practicing. The image of Jacob wrestling the angel is not a match between two beings. The wrestling is internal. It is the moment a person feels the pull to take the offered crumbs and chooses to refuse. Every morning that you sit with the offer and choose not to take it, you have done what Jacob did. The practice has a geometry. Jerusalem is the heart space inside the body. Israel is the temple at the forehead. When you have a heavy goal pressing on the heart, the wrestling is how you transmute the heaviness up into the temple where it becomes lighter. The phrase for that move is taking something from Jerusalem and putting it in Israel. That phrase reads like geopolitics on the surface and like internal energy work in the actual practice. Both readings sit on top of each other on purpose. As above, so below means the pattern that runs at the macro level also runs at the micro level. The book is talking about both registers at the same time. The 5 fashions of government. The world is run through 5 fashions, and they are business and entertainment and education and religion and politics. 5 surfaces and 1 mechanic running underneath. In each one, you follow the light of somebody else's intellectual property. In business, you follow the light of an idea about how to make money. The freedom of business is the freedom to follow the light wherever the framework has already laid it down. In entertainment, you follow the light of your gift and slot it behind somebody else's footsteps. Your gift is real. The slot is not. The slot was built before you were born to absorb the kind of gift you have. The moment your gift fits the slot owns the output and you carry the crumbs. In education, you follow the light of somebody else's old intellectual property about how the world was made. The receptive student walks out with the equipment to participate in the other 4 fashions and to never question any of them. In religion, you follow the light of your God or your delight. The framework gives a small number of preachers an enormous amount of money. Joel Osteen is the cleanest example. The function of that wealth is not to enrich him. The function is to demoralize every other preacher in the country into chasing the prosperity route. The framework drains the religious surface through that single allegory without attacking any individual ministry directly. In politics, you follow the light of the images put up to vote for. Your individual vote never travels with you. It gets absorbed at each tier into a representative who may or may not carry it forward. Voting is the simulation of participation. The most popular politicians on the public stage are functionally entertainers, famous enough to occupy attention while the policy work happens off stage. The framework is run by a three-part conglomerate. A note on vocabulary first. The framework uses 3 words, and they are Jew and Jesuit and Mason, and it uses them as structural roles inside a coordinating system. These are job descriptions, not claims about ordinary Jewish people, or ordinary Catholic people, or ordinary members of Masonic lodges. If you walk away using these terms to talk about everyday people, you have misunderstood the teaching, and I am asking you not to do that. With that framing, here is the structure. The Jesuit is the intellect and generates the philosophical engine that explains why the framework should run the way it runs. The Jew is the literature and carries the storyline and the named characters in the book of titles and the language used inside the framework. The Mason is the operator and brings the intellect and the literature together into stone and ritual and built form and the day-to-day operation that puts the masses to sleep. Together, they coordinate across the full year and across all 5 fashions. The 30 degrees of Leo that contain the summer solstice are run by the tribe of Judah, which is why entertainment and stagecraft live in that section of the year. The studio names with Lion and Universal in them are the cipher labels showing themselves in plain sight. The output is one world government, and one world government is not a future event. It is the current baseline. The different countries on the map are the same rulership flying different flags. When I use the phrase shadow government, I mean this coordinating layer. Egypt becomes Babylon, becomes Rome, becomes the modern administrative state. The labels change. The mechanic underneath never does. The current theme has Instagram comment sections in it. Now look back at the screenshot. Somebody or some company paying this kid for these narratives, but to me the worst part of it all is the youngins, that these ideas linger in minds of unfit thinkers. Internet spooky. Every framework element is hiding inside that one Instagram post. The kid is a celebrated blood cell. The company is the operator. The narratives are the intellectual property. The platform is the entertainment fashion of government. Waka is another celebrated blood cell sitting in a different seat at the same table. The comment is the release valve. Internet spooky gestures without specifying. Unfit thinkers is the sheep management framing that preserves the hierarchy. The 4,000 likes are the audience metabolizing partial disclosure as if it were full disclosure. The whole exchange feeds the entertainment fashion back into itself. Waka and the kid are running biblical patterns they do not know they are running. The kid is running the Isaac pattern. He is the son offered up on the altar of the platform. Waka is running the Abraham pattern, but the broken version. He raised the knife on his own son a long time ago and traded it for the platform that lets him post commentary on younger fathers raising knives on their own sons. Both are inside the same allegory and neither one can see it because the chamber does not let the allegory through. The book has been describing this moment for 4,000 years before any of them arrived. The instruction, the morning sit, diagnosis without practice changes nothing. The practice is the morning sit, and it is the daily renewal of the covenant. Here is what it looks like. You wake before the world wakes. The framework places the practice at 6 because that is the hour when the sun is most actively rising in the year-round cipher. If 6 is not workable, the closest hour you can hold consistently is the right hour for you. You do the practice before the day's exposure to the 5 fashions begins. You sit. The posture is whatever lets you keep a straight spine without falling asleep. You center by dropping your attention from your busy mind into your body. Feel your sit bones and your breath and the weight of your hands. Bring your attention into the present location of your body before you do anything else. You bring the macro pattern down into the micro pattern. Imagine the light of the rising sun entering through the crown of your head and spreading downward through every chakra and into the ground beneath you. The body becomes a column of light receiving the day. You renew the vow. Remember out loud or in silence that the gift you carry is not for sale today. Speak or think the words, I will not trade what I carry for what can be bought. You wrestle. Bring up the thought or feeling that is pulling on the gift and do not push it away. Meet it. Feel the appeal of the crumbs and the easiness of slotting into the existing box. Then transmute the heaviness from Jerusalem in the heart space up into Israel in the temple where it becomes lighter. That is the daily Jacob practice. That is the circumcision of the mind. The thought does not go away. It gets lighter and stops controlling you. You close. Bring the column of light back into yourself. Take 3 deep breaths. Open your eyes. Walk back into the day as a tribe of Jacob individual instead of as a sheep with a price tag. 15 or 20 minutes is enough. The practice is the only thing that holds the covenant. One more piece of the framework before I close. The Hagar trap is named after Hagar in the Bible. Sarah cannot wait for the promised son and tells Abraham to have a child with the servant Hagar instead. The substitute son is Ishmael. The promised son is Isaac. The Hagar trap is the structural pattern where the practitioner cannot sit with the not yet of the promise and grabs a substitute that complicates the rest of their output for life. The framework will always offer you a substitute every time you cannot sit with the slowness. It looks like progress. It looks like the answer arriving. The instruction is to sit with the slowness. Let the ram appear in the thicket. Do not grab the substitute. The covenant is not a club you join by declaration and not a bloodline you claim by ancestry. The covenant is a vow you hold by practice. You are under it because you sat this morning and wrestled the offer and refused to sell. The framework has no leverage on a person who is not for sale. Look at the screenshot one more time. 4,170 likes. The celebrated blood cell is the kid. The release valve is internet spooky. The sheep management hierarchy is unfit thinkers. The intra-fashion theater is Waka himself. The chamber metabolizing the critique is the light count. The Bible is the field guide. The covenant is the only exit, and the exit is held open by one practice that lives in the morning. Everything I just walked you through comes from the work of Dolo de Pilotman on the Flights channel through his Uriel teachings. The framework